Hi everyone, my name is Belinda and I'm the training lady. If you're using Microsoft Planner to manage projects, tasks, or any team workloads, you'll eventually need to be able to add or remove people from that plan. And what many people don't realize is that Planner membership is often linked to a Microsoft 365 group. Now, that means that adding or removing someone from a plan can actually affect their access to other resources as well. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to add members to a Microsoft plan, how to remove them as well, and I'll also explain what's happening behind the scenes in relation to the Microsoft 365 groups so that you can manage access correctly. So let's get started. Now, the first thing I want to do is go through what is a Microsoft 365 group. Now, it actually forms the basis of your membership within that group. So it provides access to a range of different resources across Microsoft 365. Now, a Microsoft 365 group gives you access to resources such as a team in Microsoft Teams. You also have Outlook group conversations, so you have a shared mailbox. There is a SharePoint site associated with it. You also have a shared calendar. There's a shared file or document library area. And because of this connection, when you add or remove someone from a plan, you're often adding or removing them from that underlying group. So let's now discuss plan membership options. Now, when you're creating a plan, you have the potential for 3 different scenarios in relation to that Microsoft 365 group. The first scenario is a plan with no group associated with it. And let's start with this situation where you've created a plan just for yourself. Now, when you create that plan from scratch, you may not have created an associated group, so you are the only one with access. Now, these types of plans are often used just for your own personal task management, which is fantastic. But if you later decide that you want to collaborate with others, you will need to create a group before additional members can be added. And we're going to have a look at all of these scenarios. Second scenario that you've got here is where you have created a plan and you have actually created a group with it, but you are still the only member. Now, this one is where you're the only member, but you did in fact create that group as part of the process. So essentially you have a group with just one member, and that member is you. Makes it a little bit of an easier step forward to add additional members in. Third scenario is where you created the plan and you did actually go ahead and create the group and you already have members involved in that. So you might have part of your team and you decide later down the track that you need to add some more people into that. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Microsoft 365 groups actually give you access to some shared resources. And what a lot of people don't realize is that these even exist. Now, with the Microsoft 365 group, you not only get access to a planner, for instance, but you also get a shared inbox. You get a shared calendar. You have your own SharePoint document library. You have a shared OneNote notebook, and you even have a shared SharePoint team site. All right, those are automatically created in the back end of the system whenever a new group is created. Now, what about group roles? So these are the permission levels that you can work with. You might even be familiar with these if you've worked with Microsoft Teams before and you have managed a team in that scenario. So the top level is an owner, and an owner has full access to the entire group in terms of they can manage users, they can manage the group settings, etc., etc. Next level you've got, which is what majority of your users will be, is a member. They can create content, they can edit existing, they can often delete, all of those sorts of things. They just don't have access over changing the actual member or the group settings. They also don't have access to add new members in depending on the settings that have been put forward for privacy. Last one that you've got is a guest. Guest is usually kept for external users. So for instance, I have a lot of clients who add me in as a guest to their groups. That way I can interact with certain resources, but I'm not the same permission level as an internal member of that organization. So it does provide limited permissions though. So they're your 3 different group roles that you can work with. Now, I want to provide this little trick because this is the easiest way for you to be able to see what groups you are actually already in. It seems to be unusual that we would go to Microsoft Outlook for this, but this is going to provide you the most direct access. So if you actually open Outlook for the web, and I've put the link here for the Outlook website, it's outlook.office365.com. That will open Outlook online. And what you'll have access to there is your groups that you're a member of. So let's have a look at that. Now, I've just quickly gone into my Outlook online. In the bottom of your mailbox listing, you will see a little link that says go to groups. Now you click that And now I have a list of all the groups that I'm actually a member of. Now I can click onto any of these and it will show me my shared inbox. I do have access to my files and events. I can also see how many members there are. And this is another way that as an owner of a group, I can go in and do things like add new members in. Another really nice thing that I like from here is I do have access to those shared resources from here. You can see in the top right corner, I have access or a little icon to take me to the notebook, to the planner, to the SharePoint site, and also to the team for that group as well. So this does provide you with nice, easy access to all of those resources. All right, so that now shows us how we can view some of those Microsoft 365 groups that we are a member of. Let's now jump into Planner and have a look at how we can start working with those different plans and how we can then add or remove members from those. So let's go to planner.cloud.microsoft, which is the current URL for the Planner website. All right, so I'm in my Planner account now, and you can see I have 3 demo plans that I've just created here. There's actually nothing in them for the moment, but I want to show you how to be able to add or remove your members. Now, my demo plan 1 is where I've just set this up for myself. So I'm the only person who has access to this, and I actually haven't set this up with a group. Now, when you open up the plan, you want to go to the top right corner of the plan screen. You'll see you have a share button. And if I go to share and choose share from the drop down, it will pop open a little window for me. Now, this already lets me know that if I want to share this plan, that it must be part of a group. And at the moment, this is not. Now, I can create a new group from this. And what I can do is I can go and associate this with an existing group that I already have if I want to. All right, but if I want to create a new Microsoft 365 group from scratch, then I can hit the little button here that says create new group. So I'll go ahead and click that, and it will automatically fill in the group name as the same name as my plan, which you can go in and edit that if you want to give it a bit more context. Maybe you want to name the group after your team or your project, and that's perfectly fine. The next thing that I have the ability to do is add some members to that group straight away. So I don't have to do them as 2 separate actions. I can create the group and then add the members straight into it if I want to. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I'd like to add Tanya in straight away once that group has been created. Now, I also have a little area here to be able to put a description in if I want to. And then I also have a privacy level. Now, private groups are ones that only members will have access to, whereas a public group, anybody can kind of join that team or that group if they want to. All right, so if you want to make it kind of more an invitation only setting, then use that private option. I'm going to stick with private, and then I'm just going to go ahead and create. That's going to now go ahead and create that group for me, and it will get everything set up in the back end of the system for me. All right, so that group has now been created. It's come up and let me know that both myself and Tanya have been added to that group. I could go immediately and manage access to that if I wanted to, or I can just close this window. Now you'll see in my little pinned group list here that I can actually see the group name showing up. So I can see here that these 3 do have groups associated with them. And now it's just a matter of me, if I want to add additional members, because there's already myself and Tanya in here, I can just go back to share and hit that share button again. And now it has a group associated with it. If I click the little pop-out icon, it's going to open into Outlook Online for me. I will be able to manage my users, all that sort of stuff. You can do some basic things from here as well, such as adding new members and also being able to remove any members from here as well if you wanted to. All right, so that shows the first process of if you have a plan that has no group associated with it, no other members, how we can go ahead and add in some members. So you do have to create that group first. Now, my second demo plan here is already at that point where I already have a group associated with it, but it's still only me as the single member of the group. So if I go back up to my share button again and choose share from the drop down, you'll see there is already a group associated. But again, I'm the only member in that group at the moment. So it's just a matter of me going and adding in any additional users. I can add them in. I can then see the list of any members that I've added. Right, so very straightforward once you already have that group set up. So close out of that one. My demo plan 3, again, already has a group associated with it and already actually has multiple users. So there's already myself and Tanya are already a member of this one. So if I go into share again and choose the share option, you can see there's my group, there's our existing members. But then again, I can go in here and I can continue to add more members here if I need to. So very, very straightforward once you have that group already structured. Now, removing members or deleting them from a plan or a group in actual fact is going to be the same process. You're still going to go into whatever plan you're working through, go up to your share button and use the share drop down. And this is where I can now see that Tanya is involved in this one and maybe I don't need her involved anymore. So I can go ahead and hit that little remove button. It will ask me to confirm that I do want to remove Tanya, and it will confirm the plan or the group name as well. All right, I can go ahead and hit that remove button and it will remove Tanya from that team or that group. Good little suggestion here is to check and review your membership of your groups on a regular basis, especially if you are an owner. You always want to make sure that the memberships for your groups are up to date so that people do not have access that shouldn't have it. And obviously making sure that the people who do need access have the correct access that they've been given. I hope this video has helped you understand how membership works in Microsoft Planner and in actual fact in the Microsoft 365 group. And obviously understanding how to safely add or remove your team members as well. Don't forget, if you found this video useful, hit that like button. And if you are interested in seeing more of my content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, have a fantastic day, everyone.